Marketer of the Day, episode 550. Succeed faster. Make money work for you. Manage your time wisely and stay consistent on your goals with house hacker Diego Corzo.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're here with Diego Corzo, and he's here to talk to us about house hacking and financial independence. And Diego is a millennial entrepreneur from Austin, Texas, and he was originally born in Lima, Peru, and he moved to the United States with his family when he was 9 years old, and his parents told him that America was the land of opportunity and that with hard work and determination, all of his dreams would be possible. And Diego has been on quite a journey from there's been ups and downs, and he's a really smart guy, and he's here to tell us all about house hacking, being an entrepreneur, moving in the right direction, trusting the process, getting out of our comfort zone, all sorts of fun stuff. So Diego, glad to be talking to you.
Robert, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited as well to hear what you have for us. And so right before we begin talking here, you told me that you have a client who recently had a big win today. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a realtor here in Austin, Texas. And today I was able to help one of my clients. She was able to buy her second property. And what's great about that is that she's been house hacking for I believe a year or 2 years now. And she's been able to save enough money and be able to multiply that to another property, which gives me a lot of excitement because she's only in her 20s.
Awesome. And you're in your 20s as well, and you're one of those millennials who just has a crazy new perspective on things, because it seems like a few decades ago, the path that everyone was supposed to take was get a job, get a house, just barely make the payments, barely make ends meet, hold out until retirement. But I understand now that with this whole concept called house hacking, that there's a way better way of going about things, right?
Exactly. And it's all, and for me, really, what changed my mindset was when I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that book basically taught me that 95% of the population trades their time for money. And 5% of the population makes their money work for them. So I began telling myself, okay, Diego, like in the future, you have to figure out how you can make your money work for you. And that's been all of my focus since I read the book.
Well, great. And so speaking of like having this sort of changing of mindset, I understand that when you transitioned from being a kid to an adult, you had a little bit of a surprise as far as what your background was and what you were legally able to do. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely an eye-opening experience for me because I came to the United States when I was 9 years old. And I didn't know that I was undocumented, and I didn't know what the consequences were going to be until I wanted to get my driver's license at the age of 16, and I found out that I couldn't get it. And that's when I knew, okay, I was like, I guess I'm going to be having some obstacles that my friends wouldn't have. And then from there, when I was trying to get into college, I found out that I also couldn't qualify for student loans. And that was a blessing in disguise, but I had to figure out a way to pay for college. In trying to pay for college, I also found out that I couldn't legally work. So that created another stopping point and seeing, okay, like how can I get to my goals? So I just got resourceful. I found out that I could open my own company, and I began doing all the work as a contractor. And yeah, but I mean, it's been a lot of ups and downs and trying to look for opportunities rather than feeling sorry for myself and my situation, but staying focused with the goals that I want to achieve.
I love it. So you came across those obstacles, and it would have been really easy to just give up and say, I guess that I can't do it, but you found a better way around it. And I'm seeing here in your bio that you graduated in the top 1% from Florida State University with not one, but two bachelor degrees in less than 4 years. And that's with all of these obstacles in front of you, where you were also, working to pay for college and doing the contracting. So, I mean, do you have a secret, or are you just that smart, or how the heck were you able to not only finish college, but do it quickly, 2 degrees while working? How'd you do it?
Yeah, so time management is definitely it's something that I'm pretty good at, being able to put my focus on the things that I want to do and be able to also. So one of the things that helped me is that I took a couple of AP and IB classes when I was in high school. So I was able to get into college with some of the credits. But I also had to figure out different ways for me to be able to afford going to college. So not only did I work, but I also created study guides for the students in my classes, and I sold them before the exams so that they could study it and all of that stuff. I bought used books and sold them on Amazon after I took the course or asked my friends for them. So it's just getting resourceful and trying to figure things out to be able to achieve that American dream, right? And right now I am what Congress calls a dreamer. I am part of the DACA program, and that has been definitely a challenge with everything that's going on now with Congress and stuff like that. But I have to, when I'm in those situations when I'm like, this is going to be hard, this is another obstacle, I tell myself, why is this happening for me rather than why this is happening to me? And when I ask myself that question, that why is this happening for me, my head begins to look for solutions rather than feeling sorry for myself.
Right. I love that attitude. Why is this happening for me, not why is this happening to me? And it seems like asking that question lends itself to the answers of, now how am I going to think on my feet or be more creative to find a solution, as opposed to, if it's happening to me, the solution is I'm just going to feel sorry for myself. And so you have really good time management, you say, and you're good at making sort of study guides and things like that. And so on the subject of time management, do you think that are there specific things that you do that are different than most of the population? Like we mentioned, the rich dad, poor dad. Sorry, there's that 5%, right? That 5% that's different. So as far as the time management, do you not watch TV, or do you wake up early, or are there any habits that you could put your finger on that you do differently than most of the population?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I don't really watch TV, right? Because for me, it's more like, how am I using my time wisely? Sure, entertainment is good, is fun, and I do it sometimes, but it's not like, oh, I can't wait to go home after work and watch the Netflix season of House of Cards or something like that. It's more of me knowing where my time is being used more valuable and then taking action on it. Even if it's waking up early, sometimes is staying up late, and having a work ethic that you know that you have to say no to some things. So because you're working on your future, right? In the beginning, I didn't go to as many happy hours with my friends because I knew that I needed to learn, when I was transitioning from software developer to real estate, I needed to put in the hours, put in the effort so that I can get better at my craft. And I just read books and I listen to podcasts and stuff like that. But most of the stuff, or some educations, I either do it on the road when I'm driving, and I'm trying to be as efficient as possible with my time. So if I know that I have to be on calls and they don't have to see my face, then I take it from the road. Awesome. And so I plan my day in a way that, okay, if I have to show a home in South Austin, then at 3 p.m., then I can plan a call at 2 p.m. so that it can take me that 30 minutes or an hour to get down there. But I am taking advantage of the time.
Super great. So you're making the best use of your time. And so do you ever get burned out, or do you ever get demotivated, and do you have any techniques to make sure that you stay on top form?
Yeah, so I would say getting demotivated, or I would say that you have to be able to look at your goals constantly, and you have to be held accountable, because sometimes you can be like, oh man, like there was one time me as a realtor, I had 4 deals fall through in 1 week. But I understand that it is a numbers game, right? And when that happens, one of the things that I highly recommend is getting connected with a peer group that can hold you accountable and that can have that has higher standards, so that when you're thinking that, oh, I can't achieve that goal, it's too hard, it's not going to be as difficult to quit, because you have a peer group that's helping you push forward, and that's helping you not only that is helping you by holding you accountable, but it's also having a mentor or having a mentor or a coach definitely helps you in that way.
I like that a lot, because for me, it's sometimes easy to give myself a break, or to be too hard on myself. And sometimes I want something different than that. I want the encouragement or the motivation, or to have someone else tell me I can do it, or to see someone else do it, so that way I have the path. But it seems like if we're stuck in our own head, or if we just stick with the same set of friends that we had in high school or in college, then they might not be on the same path that we want to be on. If we want to be super successful, then maybe we need to find others who are as successful as we want to be, if not more. And so what does that peer group, that support group, look like for you? I mean, do you have a mentor? Do you go to meetups? Like, what do you personally do to make sure that you have this really solid circle of supporters?
Yeah. So for my circle or support and my peer group, I am part of a mastermind group called March to a Million and Go Abundance. So it's 2 in 1, but it's basically a mastermind group that there's a lot of entrepreneurs there, and we are all in the path of becoming a millionaire. So we all have that goal of being a millionaire in all areas of life, not just on the wealth side that deals with like properties or money or income, but most of it deals, okay, how can I be a millionaire in my health, in adventure, in life, and of course in contribution and money. So for me, that peer group is the one that changed my life. I got connected with them with Go Abundance when I was 23 years old, and I found myself in a room with 15 millionaires. And they told me, they were like, Diego, we created Go Abundance for millionaires, but we want to help you. We love your story. Will you be our first apprentice? And I was like, heck yeah, let's go. And my life changed from there. 2 weeks later, I was in a private plane with one of the guys, and they are the ones that help me push forward, because they are thinking at a different level, and they were asking me different questions. The people like that I went to college with, they may be asking, is like, hey, like the questions weren't the same. They were asking me questions like, hey, how many properties are you going to buy this year? Or, hey, when are you going to hire an assistant or an office manager? So those questions help you think at a higher level, and that's what they did for me. And I've been applying everything that they told me, whether to go to Tony Robbins events, to take speaking courses, to do anything. I just did whatever they told me, and it changed my life.
Well, that's a really great attitude and a really great strategy of just find that circle of people who are doing really well, and then make sure that ask them the right questions, and make sure that you're asking the right questions. And then when you trust that mentor, just do exactly as they said. And what's great about so far what you've been talking about here is that this is all really simple, doable stuff. Or maybe it's not simple to follow through, but everyone needs to be doing these things, right? Of using our time wisely, of always be taking in new information, books and podcasts, instead of necessarily watching TV all the time. Look at our goals and re-examine those, have the peer group, and ask better questions and think at a higher level. And I can definitely relate to a lot of the stuff, especially because sometimes I end up just forgetting to reach out to those mentors or to talk to people at a higher level. And so, for example, a few days ago, I was talking to a guy about selling a $25,000 a month service. And it was blowing my mind because I was thinking to myself, gee, I hadn't even considered that. It was almost painful to think about on my own, but then having someone else there to tell me about it and to explain it really expanded my thinking. So do you ever maybe backslide sometimes? Do you ever find that sometimes you maybe just fall back into old habits, and you notice that peer group maybe helps you out with that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because there are times where they challenge me to think at a different scale. And they're a little bit older, so they might be in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So the good thing about hanging around those people is that I get to learn from their experiences. So if it took them to get to where they are in 10, 15 years, if I do whatever they tell me, it might take me 2 or 3 years. So I leverage their experience in that sense. And whenever I do get into those habits of going back to my old form or my old mentality, one thing that has helped me is consistently going to personal development events, whether it's once a quarter or once every 2 months, but it just helps me get in that mindset again. And I don't remember who has a quote, but it's motivation or inspiration. It's something that you have to do every single day, just like showering. I don't remember who it was, but
I think that's Zig Ziglar. That's he says some people say motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does showering. That's why we recommend it daily.
Exactly, that one. So it's more on that aspect. And one of the things that I also do is I can't compare their chapter 10 with my chapter 2, because I know that I'm just starting, and I have to trust the process. So that's another thing, that there's times where things get tough, especially with my situation with DACA. There's still obstacles that I hit, trying to buy my properties in the beginning was extremely difficult, but I knew that I just had to trust the process to be able to get to where I am, and know that it's all going to take time. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Right. I love it. So what I'm hearing from you is go to these personal events, personal development events. That way you can refresh your way of thinking. That way you don't let the head trash creep in. And then when you're dealing with these mentors or these goals or these setbacks, then don't fall into the trap of comparing yourself too much to others, because what you see on the outside versus what you're going through on the inside is apples and oranges, can't really be compared there. So as far as what you're building, what you're working on, are you comfortable with sharing any of your goals or current challenges, or just how things are going right now?
Yeah, as far as business or life with DACA, I can share anything. I'm an open book.
I mean, whatever you feel like sharing. I mean, personal or business, or just I'm curious about just what your current goals and challenges are.
Yeah. So one of my goals right now, I'm working on 2 projects. One of them, of course, is house hacking. So I'm calling it House Hacking Club, and that is it's my way to teach other millennials how to change their mindset to financial freedom and how to build passive income in the easiest way, because house hacking is something that you can do part-time while you still have your job, right? And what that means is basically you can buy a single family home or a duplex, triplex, or quadplex and live with roommates or the tenants in your side. And what they're able to do is they're able to pay for your mortgage so that you can do what you want to do, because now you don't have that that mortgage or that rent payment stopping you. That is what helped me quit corporate America. And then the other project that I literally just started about a week ago is called Home for Dreamers. So I've been able to take the obstacles that I've had of it's been super hard to buy homes with my situation, but now I was able to partner up with a lender, and he can give loans to DACA and to Dreamers in 45 different states. So I've been able to take that obstacle that I've had and turn it more into a business, and then be able to help as many people as possible that have the DACA program and help them achieve that American dream. So in a way, I'm transitioning more, like I've realized that money is not really as fulfilling as I like to have more of an impact. And one story that I can share is last year in 2017, I made the month that my permit expired with DACA, I made the most that I've ever made in my life. In one month, that's like the most that I made when comparing it to other months in that sense. But because I didn't have my documents, I didn't have like that peace. So yes, I had all the money, it was great, but there's nothing like that inner peace that you can be relaxed so that is something that is invaluable. So as long as you do everything with integrity, and as long as you have inner peace, that is a lot more valuable than money.
Well, fantastic. Well, it sounds like you really tapped into your own self-awareness and, like you said, not just chasing the money, but also helping others and having this really important cause. And what's really interesting that it seems like the topic that we're revisiting again and again, it seems, is to figure out a system for yourself and then use that sort of documentation to teach to others, right? Because you were saying that, well, you were a really good student and you'd create these study guides and then sell the study guides to other people. And you know that the study guides work because you yourself were using that to study. And then, you were a software developer for General Motors. And so you know as well as anyone how important documentation is, right? You do hundreds or thousands of little steps, and that's okay to do one time, but then you need to write down those steps, that way you can repeat those. And so it sounds like with this Home for Dreamers project you have going on, that you figured out a way around all the through all the legal obstacles. You figured out how to debug the system for yourself, and then now you say, well, here are my step-by-step process, or here's the person that I partner with to make this work, and then now I figured it out the hard way for myself. Now here's the template for others to use to duplicate my success. So I find that really, really interesting as far as your strategy there, where you fixed it for yourself and then you get that additional satisfaction by helping others with the problem that you used to have.
Exactly. And what's cool is that with the House Hacking Club, with that project, is I am able to share my story with other millennials, with other people, and to share it in a way to inspire them that if I could do it with all the obstacles that I've had, like not being able to work or drive till I was 23, that if I could do it, they can do it too. And it just takes determination. It takes staying focused on your goals and having the mindset of achieving financial freedom in your 20s or 30s or even 40s, rather than just working for the rest of your life and climbing the corporate ladder.
Right. It doesn't sound like fun at all. Just hoping that you'll live long enough to enjoy your retirement when you're old. I mean, I'd rather fix the problem early. That way we can have just this life full of awesomeness. And so as we're beginning to wind down here, I love this concept of house hacking, but as you know, it's one thing to give someone an idea, but then there are the details to be filled in later. So if you told someone, okay, well, go and either buy a single family home and get roommates, or a duplex or a quadplex and have them pay your mortgage and build from there, do you see a really just common problem happening with that? If someone goes out there and tries to do this themselves without your house hacking club, without the details filled in, is there a really common sticking point that comes to mind?
Well, the main thing is that you need to have the right team in place. I believe that if you have the right realtor, that's an investor-friendly realtor, and the realtor will point you to the right lender, then that is a great starting point. And the realtor will be able to answer all the questions that you may have about the buying process. And then the other thing can be that that it will be the managing the renters the right way and finding the renters the right way. I believe that through Craigslist, for me, it has worked, but it's just you trusting your gut and asking the right questions to those people. Sometimes it can, and for me, it's all about having the systems in place and trusting the process. So one of the main things that some people can do is sometimes they think that they need 20% down to buy a property, but you really need like 5% or 3% down. So one of the big stopping points why people think that they can't get into real estate is because they think that they need a lot of cash, where really you only need 3 and 5%.
Interesting. So you're saying have that good system in place, ask the right questions, and then have the right people on your side, so that way you're not fighting an uphill battle. That way you all have the same goals, and if you have that investor-friendly realtor, or you have the right team in place to deal with renters, they've all seen it before. They want the same things as you, so you don't have to train them or tell them what you want. They want what you want as well.
Exactly.
Super cool. Well, this has been an amazing conversation, and I'm sure that some people, or a lot of people out there, I'm sure will have been impressed at what you've been able to accomplish in a short period of time at a young age, even with these different obstacles in front of you. But it sounds like you had a lot of fun dealing with these obstacles, and it was just a way to see what you're made of. So if people want to know more about Mr. Diego Corzo, what you have going on, your projects, your websites, can you give us some links so that way if we've been hearing about your amazing story, we're not just left hanging, we can get these additional resources?
Yeah, for sure. So they can send me an email to info@diegocorzo.com, and they can also find me on Facebook, Diego Corzo. And if they do want to learn more about house hacking, they can go to househackingclub.com.
Super cool. So info@diegocorzo.com, and spelling that out, that is DIEGOCORZO.com, and then find Diego on Facebook, and then househackingclub.com. And if you're curious about which one of these paths to take, which one of these three, do all of the above. Shoot an email at info@diegocorzo.com and just tell Diego that you really enjoyed listening to him on the Marketer of the Day podcast. And it can't hurt to ask him any sort of question about house hacking or finances or what he's been able to do. And that way he can at least point you in the right direction, or tell you, my house hacking club will help you with that. And add him on Facebook, so that way you have another friend in your corner. And then definitely check out househackingclub.com. That's HOUSEHACKINGCLUB.com, househackingclub.com, and DiegoCorzo.com. If you have any interest at all in financial independence and making money from real estate, which you should, it sounds like an easy way to make money. So go and check out those resources right now, DiegoCorzo.com and househackingclub.com. And thanks so much, Diego, for sharing your story, sharing some of your secrets and your strategies with us. It helped me. It reminded me of a lot of important things, and I'm sure that it helped a lot of other people too. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate your time. Very happy to be here.
Today's episode is sponsored by DoneForYouPodcasting.com. Is your podcast not what it should be? What if you could simply show up and have a team deal with content, outreach for guests, editing, production, social media traffic, and more? Check out DoneForYouPodcasting.com.